for cold, hard sports talk with your hosts, Ty Gore, Matt Barrett, and Jake Woods.
Alrighty, we are here today with our guest, Al Parada. He is the Director of Hockey Operations for the newest Junior A club joining the Alberta Junior Hockey League, the Blackfalds Bulldogs. Al, how's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me on, Jake.
Yeah, of course. Always a pleasure. You're in a situation that doesn't come along every so often. That's kind of building a Junior A club from the bones up. First thing I wanted to ask was really because technically this is the former Calgary Mustangs franchise. It's they requested a leave of absence from the AJ. They were purchased and then relocated. First thing we want to ask is just like, how much of the bones from the Mustangs are left? Is there anything really involved from that anymore? Or is it really just that was an old franchise and we're taking over?
It's an old franchise with lots of history, and we're just kind of taking over. We have a few old jerseys that we're trying to give back to some of the ex-players that were around. But this is a brand new franchise in our minds, and we're trying to start our own legacy and own history right off the get-go.
It's essentially just the receipt of purchase, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. We're excited to do our own thing, and the Mustangs were around a long time, but we're excited to get started with what we want to get going.
And how early on in the process were you brought on to kind of do it, and what kind of interested you about this offer?
Right from the start. So, when we heard the Mustangs were possibly taking a leave of absence, Doug and I had got together and we went out to Blackfalds. We really had to find somewhere to put a team first. It wasn't going to work in Red Deer. We had went to Lacombe, looked there. It just wasn't a good fit at the time. And, we really thought, okay, well, maybe it's not meant to be. And then Blackfalds, a buddy of mine, Sean Barnes, reached out to me and he said, hey, we heard you guys are looking to bring an AJ team to Central Alberta, and we want to build you a new rink. So really from there, Doug and I went and met with the town, and we loved what they did. It's basically ACI Architects. They're the same architect that built Rogers Place for the Oilers. And, they really impressed us with what they had and the excitement with the community and the council. And so Doug jumped right in with both feet, and it's kind of been history after that. We've went along. Then we asked for actually a leave of absence, another year leave of absence from the AJ, and we applied for that, and they were kind enough to give us that leave of absence for this year, and we're ready to go next year. We've got 17 players now signed, and we're excited.
And you mentioned Doug Quinn, their head coach of the team. You guys have a history together coaching with the Red Deer Chiefs U18 AAA club. He's going to be the head coach of the team, and you're his assistant in Red Deer. Are you going to be behind the bench with him with the club this year?
I am. I'm excited about that. That's my passion, coaching as well. And, along with building the team, which, like you said, you don't get an opportunity very often to build a team from the ground up, whether it's pro sports, amateur sports, in junior hockey. It just doesn't come along that often. So I'm real excited to be involved and get a chance to be on the bench at the next level. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
How much of your just contacts you've made and maybe even players you've worked with at the U18 level, how much is that playing a factor in what you're going to do at the junior A level?
Oh, huge. Not only our contacts with the players, but the coaches that we've played against in the league. And since 2010, we've been involved in the midget AAA league. So, just knowing those coaches and them reaching out to us reaching out to them about players and them giving us information, especially this year, because we haven't been able to watch any hockey. So, we're relying a lot on a lot of coaches and other scouts and just people involved that we've met. And, even with the NCAA level, with the coaches we've known and met through that link too, they're giving us some really good information on players as well.
You touched on it a bit there with COVID and everything, most of these players have played like less than 10 games, if that, this year. How hard is it to like build a franchise? And like, what are you going off of with all these players you're signing? Is it just past stats or coach endorsements? Like, what's the like deciding factor for if a guy gets signed or not when they're not playing games?
Yeah, like you said, it's going off of what other coaches say and other scouting reports on them, and talking to past coaches of these players and getting some character references on them. We not only want good hockey players, we want great character kids, and we want to build our foundation right from the start. And it's we've got a lot of help from coaches and other scouts out there, other WHL scouts and assistant GMs who've given us some information on players that maybe not going that way, and they want to go the junior A route and NCAA route. So we've got a lot of help, and we're very thankful for that, but it's been tough. Like not to be able to watch the kids play, you're sometimes you just think you're taking a flyer on people, but you have to trust other hockey people's knowledge and go forward.
Have you had any of the kids like sort of take that reach and like do things like send out game tape or stuff trying to get a recruitment?
You know what? Tristan Zarski, we signed a big 03 defenseman who plays for OHA. And I tell you, the kid sent us his own video that he did himself, and it was unbelievable. It made us go and watch him again on Instat. We're on a platform called Instat Analytics, and it allows us to watch basically their shifts of any games if they're on there that they played. So, you don't have to go through the whole video of a game. You can basically go through, if they played 15, 20 minutes, it takes you 15, 20 minutes to watch their game tape. So that's been a huge help as well. And this kid did an unbelievable job. And we actually went back, we watched some more video, and we ended up signing him. So, we're excited about him. So I think the kids really do. And there's been others as well who have really took their own career into their own hands. And they've done a good job at sending out videos to us and reaching out to us.
Maybe if Josh is good at editing video, maybe we can bring him on and edit some stuff for us or something.
Yeah, tell him to send us a resume too.
There you go. Sounds good.
I actually had one question regarding your recruiting process. So you guys are an expansion team, but how much is a factor in saying, hey, we're an expansion team, but this is an awesome town in Central Alberta, and you get to play in a brand new barn? How much do you think it's been helpful in your recruitment?
Oh, I think it helps with the kids. Unbelievable. It really does. They see what we're building. We've got a really cool video, that we've basically put out as part of our recruiting package, and it shows the new rink, shows the new room that Mr. Quinn is building, and that's a big part of being a player. Having the nice room, having the nice rink, having the training facility right there that your development can get better every day. It's a big part of it. And I think it's helped us recruiting some high-end recruits. A young guy, Wyatt Wilson, out in Saskatchewan, he's a highly sought after recruit, and he's coming to us next year to play junior A hockey. And it definitely was a factor, I think.
We saw too, you've got a good handful of Americans coming to play for you. What was the conversation like talking them into coming up to Canada to play for you guys?
I think just a different experience. Some of their friends have came up here before and had a good experience, whether it was in the BCHL or in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. And, my young assistant GM, Adam West, he was with the Penticton Bees for the last 3 or 4 years. So, he had a connection with the Anaheim Ducks, Junior Ducks organization. So, he did a really good job recruiting those two kids and getting us some video of them. And then now we're down in Minnesota. We recruited a young guy. He's in a place called Hermantown, Minnesota high school hockey. He's got 29 points in 11 games. He's a real good player. He's going to be an NCAA Division I player. And, he just wanted a different experience. And, we're so fortunate that he chose us for that experience.
With having another sort of expansion team in the BCHL no more than a stone's throw away, is there any competition with them at all, recruiting players? I know they're kind of a year behind, but was there any sort of competition? And then is there also maybe some sort of sharing of the minds between you two as well to sort of build these teams?
Yeah, you know what? We haven't reached out much to Cranbrook. We've kind of been doing our own thing and just relying on the hockey people that we know. But I've been watching them and what they've been doing. They've signed some really good players, and I think they would have actually had a really good team out of the gate, just like we think we're going to have, their first year and our first year. So, it's too bad COVID has really sidelined them, their first season, but they've signed a Red Deer boy that we were looking at, and he was an O2 player. But there's for every other player there's always another door that opens, and there's another player that gets an opportunity. So there's lots of players to go around and make it competitive.
Touched on there a little bit too. Wanted to talk about what the goals are for the team right out of the gate. Is like the goal always just to win the championship regardless of where you are in the team, or what's the mentality of the team going into year one?
I think as a coaching staff, we always want to win. We're not good losers. So, we want to win right out of the gate. And I believe we will be very competitive. We might have a few growing pains the first month or two with some of the younger players, but once they get their feet wet, they're all highly skilled players. And I think we're going to be really good by the end of the season.
Now, as director of hockey operations, what's your sort of day-to-day role look like with the team? Is it just, kind of making calls, talking with players and parents, try to get them signed? Or like what's kind of the balance between business and hockey like with that role?
I think it's a little bit of everything right now. I've been looking after making sure our building is going good, especially our room. So I've been kind of lining that all up, getting all our equipment with our equipment manager and trainer, Mike Elchuk. We've been kind of helping him out with that. Obviously looking and talking to players and parents and signing players. That's a huge part of it for me, but it doesn't just stop there. It's basically looking overlooking the whole hockey operation itself. So, we're excited about what we're doing here. It's a lot of work, but it's not really work when it's this fun.
Can you give us a little taste of your recruitment pitch? Like if we were talented 17, 18-year-olds, how would you convince us to come play?
You know what? We just tell you our story, kind of similar what we started off with the Mustangs, how we bought them, a little bit about our history, coaching in the Alberta Major Midget Hockey League for 8 seasons. In that time, we won 5 Alberta championships, 3 Pacific championships to go to the TELUS Cup, and 2 TELUS Cup national championships back to back. So, we would pitch that on our history, talk about our owner, and, Doug would talk for a bit. Usually when we do a pitch to players, it's myself, it's Doug, and then it's Adam West, our assistant GM. And we just try to tell the story about, hockey's just a small part of your life. And, we're not just trying to build a hockey player. We're trying to build the young adult that's coming to us and make it so that, down the road, he can survive in this crazy world. It's not just about hockey. It's getting those life skills so that you can survive after hockey too.
Yeah, I know we've talked to a few players who have some AJ experience who definitely could have used some of that in their AJ days. We've heard the stories of a few players who couldn't cook their own meal until they graduated from college there. So
yeah, it
definitely is something that would help some young players out.
Oh, exactly. And it's, like I said, it's gaining those life skills and making these young men more mature and just better people to go out into the community and be a part of society. So, we know they're going to be great hockey players, but, we want them to be great people too.
Does it, when you look at building a team from the ground up and like signing players and kind of building this in your own image, yours and Doug's image, does it almost feel like a video game, like an NHL create a team mode?
It is a little bit when you think of it that way. And Yeah, it's like you're doing NHL 21 and you're building your own little team. So it's kind of fun, and just the excitement around this team right now. I think that's another part of our recruiting pitch is that, yeah, we don't have any history yet, but be a part of our history, be a part of our legacy. What opportunity do you get very often to be the first at something and doing it in a junior hockey club or a pro hockey club? Not very often.
Is there any kind of inspiration from the Vegas Golden Knights and like, oh yeah, they stepped in and went right to the Cup final, so why can't we step in right now and be legit from the start too?
We've used that in our pitch a couple times. Yeah, you bet. And you know what? I really believe in my heart that we have the players to be a successful team like that right off the bat. We've got some great character kids. They've all the players we've got are either top line players, top pairing D, or assistant captains or captains on their team so far. So, these guys are all leaders in their own right, and we're bringing them all together. And I think they're all excited about that. And we're actually going to be doing our first Zoom team meeting here this Saturday. So, where all the guys can kind of talk to each other and introduce themselves to each other and get started off on the right foot.
Just talking about that a little bit, you mentioned, like all like top line players. How much of a balancing act are you trying to do when putting this team together? Are you just like, because like obviously like we've seen like with like Team Canada in the past where they valued guys who aren't elite scorers in the NHL to play those third, fourth line checking roles. Has that been something you've tried to weigh in, like a balance of like scoring and like good depth quality players, or what's sort of been the goal for looking at players coming in?
Oh, it has been for sure. We've watched a lot of video on kids. Do they play on the penalty kill? Do they play on the power play? If they play on both, which one are they better at? How are they going to contribute? Because everybody on our team is important. And I know that's cliche. Everybody says that, but they are. And we've always coached. The way we've always coached is we've tried to roll 4 lines and wear the other team down. Roll 3 pair of D. Just wear them out so that by the end of the third period or halfway through the third, they just quit. And then we just take over the game. And we've always coached that way, and we've always tried to build even our midget teams that way. So that's kind of the same way we're building our junior team. We want a team that, we don't have to play just 2 lines. We want to make sure everybody can contribute every night and feel a part of it and feel a part of the success that we're going to have.
And a little off topic from Blackfalds, but you mentioned it earlier. I just wanted to ask, TELUS Cup, what's that tournament like?
What's that? Sorry?
TELUS Cup, what's that tournament like?
Oh, I tell you, that's a grind for these guys. 7 games in 7 days if you win it all. And, I think that's why we did so well at that tournament is the way we built our hockey club, because we rolled 4 lines. There was teams there all the time that overplayed their players. And by the time they got to the semifinals, they had nothing in the tank. And you know what? It just, it's just the way you look at all the NHL teams now that win, Vegas, St. Louis, any of those teams that are winning on a consistent basis, they roll 4 lines. They can trust their third and fourth line players and their second and third, fourth pairings, right? So it's just, that's the way we want to build our team, and I think we'll be successful doing it. Sorry, I got off topic from the top.
No worries at all. Has there been a spot in your roster it's been like particularly hard to fill, whether it be your top 6, your defense, or your goaltending?
Well, we are going to need a few older players, and really we can't look into that till after June 1st. So, we're saving spots for those players and just trying to identify what we really need and how many we need. So, that's been tough because we can't really watch them. It's nice with the WHL if there's going to be some 20-year-olds next year that maybe don't stay in that league and come down to our league to play. So we're trying to identify some of those players as well and have an idea of who we need and how many we need.
That is it for the extent of my questions. Boys, you got anything else for him? Matt Gorsey, anything?
I'm good. Actually, I can't really think of anything off the cuff. I just want to say thanks for coming on. It's really cool hearing what you're doing out in Blackfalds, and we'll definitely be following along for sure.
Awesome.
I do have one thing. If anybody follows the team on Twitter, they've seen the gear and the logo and all that fun stuff. The jerseys, the Digit camo on the jerseys, if anybody's noticed that, where did the inspiration for the team name, the logo, all that, where did that all come from, and how did that all come together? Because that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, thanks. No, you know what? I have to give kudos to Jody Schreiner. She's one of our owners with Doug Quinn. She's Doug's fiance. So, you know, she really basically got a fella that she knows in Calgary that has worked with the Flames before. He was a part of Disney and in the past. So, you know, he kind of really came up with the logo, and we all loved it. The camo is unbelievable. And yeah, that's kind of where that came from. And then social media, again, Jody, and she's done a great job with that as well. And yeah, the logo, you know, it's kind of a funny story, actually, if you got time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
You know, Doug was looking, just kind of flipping through. I had sent a whole bunch of logos, you know, all the way from the Knights, and you know, we had all kinds of names floating around, Beavers and all sorts of different stuff. And you know, Doug was actually flipping through, and he started looking at NCAA logos, and he saw a bulldog, and you know, he didn't really even know at that time that Blackfalds Minor Hockey Association is the Blackfalds Bulldogs.
Oh.
And he goes, "What about the Bulldogs?" And I said, "That's an awesome name. That's their minor hockey association." He goes, "No way." So, you know, from there it just kind of went, and I was pretty positive that was what he was going to pick after that. And then they come up with the great logo. You know, I think the logo is outstanding. I think it's one of the best in the league and in the country. And yeah, it's just been positive. Everything's been positive about the logo and the name.
What was the other short list of names? Like, did you have a couple that did you have a favorite outside of Bulldogs? Like, what were some of the other ideas?
Also, truly, how close were we to getting the Blackfalds Beavers?
Yeah.
The Beavers were on there for sure. Actually, our goalie coach, Pete Freestad, really liked the Beavers. He was a Beaver fan. So, but there was all kinds. You know, for me, it didn't really have much with the community, but I really liked the Knights. You know, the Blackfalds Knights. I liked a couple other names, but then when we actually saw the Bulldogs and it just kind of linked with the community, it was a no-brainer.
I like it.
Well, it has been awesome talking to you and getting to know a bit about Alberta's newest Junior A hockey club. Just wanted to thank you again for coming out and let you know that if there are any job opportunities, we got a couple play-by-play guys here, a couple stat trackers. So anything opens up, give us a call.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on, and go Bulldogs.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Best of luck to you guys going into the season.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah.